Buenos dias, señores y señoritas. It is Cinco de Mayo. UPB, optionmillionaire.com. Buenos dias. Did I already say that? Cinco de Mayo, as I did last year, I will do this market video in my best Cinco de Mayo-esque accent. Let us start with S&P 500 futures. I sound like Japanese now. Up 0.25% off the lows we saw yesterday. Support here look a lot like Friday. I am now talking Japanese New Year. Let's go to the peso. I mean the US dollar index. Nice move off the lows. It's been a pretty nasty decline here for the US dollar index to start 2016. We found support here intraday on Tuesday. Nice move off the lows. You would think that'd be weighing, the dollar strength be weighing a little bit on crude oil. No, we had the fires over in Canada putting really a bid under crude oil, up over 4% here this morning. You can see continuing its rally. Looked like we were going to pull back there, but each of the pullbacks here on crude oil has been just like the stock market, a great buy the dip opportunity. You could see the VIX yesterday selling off, and I talked about this in the chat room and on Twitter as well. You could see the VIX, namely the VXX, which is a great indicator short-term intraday. The VXX was not catching quite a bid, especially late in the afternoon yesterday. You could see the pullback. We closed at session lows, and guess what happened this morning? Pounded, meaning, hey, S&P 500 futures rally time. So again, we're looking like the action that we saw last Friday, starting to find support here. You can look at S&P 500 futures support at 2050. And then that 2100 level, even going back to last year, acting as a point of interest. Remember, we crashed from it in August, got back up to it in November, could not reclaim and break above it. And again, this time around, this move off the lows, the biggest sell-off to start a year, could reclaim 2100, could not hold it. We go back a couple of years, and again, Cinco de Mayo of last year, that 2100 level, just as important. We were right up there, so you can see the pullback we're starting to see. And if you want to see NASDAQ, not as bullish here. If you look, possible W pattern here for the S&P 500 futures. Not so much here with the NASDAQ 100 futures. You see possible head and shoulders topping pattern here. And starting to roll over, support to be just under 4,000 here. Let's look at a couple charts. Weight Watchers, I brought this up. Support, you draw a trend line across. They reported earnings last night, had a couple calls into it. Looking good this morning. We're up over the 14 level. A lot of shorts in this name. Support here. Looking for 16, 17 up here. If you draw a trend line for the first point of resistance, could we see a move back up into the 20s? Distinct possibility for Weight Watchers as the shorts start to unload their position. Let's look at Priceline. We saw a big pullback yesterday. Priceline under the support that was holding it up for most of the move off the lows in February. We are now under it. Look at this candle here. Analysts out, though, during the session yesterday and this morning, talking positively about the stock. They are traveling to Mexico. They are hiding their upgrades and downgrades under their sombrero. I don't even know what that means. It just sounded good at the time. But Expedia, also earnings report, gapped up, but pulling back to close that gap a little bit there. Could be a good spot to get into both of these names here. If we get Priceline back over that support level, which would be about the 1270 level, we get over the support back over 1300 in the short term for Priceline. Amazon talked about it prior to earnings. Remember this support resistance line? Under it, bearish. Over it, bullish. Amazon up to 675 this morning. Looks like it's going to take out the all-time record high over 700 for Amazon coming in the next week or so. Google, the GOOGL was looking for downside yesterday. It did get down to 704 held. That 700 level has been so key for Google. You see it's just hanging around here. And we got to support there at 700. Back at the lows in February. If you want to look short term, just pretty amazing action recently. Look at this. Just the last couple trading sessions, the start of May, end of April, in a $10 range. Wow. This morning, gap up to 720. Amazing, huh? Just suddenly, out of nowhere, somebody woke up this morning and said, I gotta get Google. Did not want it all here. No, but I'm just going to buy it 1% higher because I can. Look at the bond market back over 130 for the TLT, 20-year bond treasury ETF. This morning, right at that 130 level. From a longer term perspective, again, with negative interest rate policy in effect, we're consolidating. Is this some sort of a bull flag? We're going to break up into the record high level here for TLT, which would be about the 134.24 level. We're getting there, folks. Bonds, stocks, everything's going to head higher. Gold Something to keep an eye on here as well. This long-term trend line has broken. In 2016, we're starting to break out. Could we finally hit 5,000 for gold? No, I'm just being sarcastic here, but for the GLD ETF, at least to move up to 130 here, which is probably going to help put a bid under the gold miners. You can see, look at this long-term trend line. This is a trend line I've had in place for a long time. I just did not just put this here today. And you can see we moved up to it and look, rejected like minute bowls. Somebody's wagging their finger back there. Look, that trend line goes all the way back to 2008, 2009. Got rejected there. If we can break above that, that would set up a nice bullish scenario for the gold miners and maybe FCX, which saw its big first monthly red candle here to start May. And you could just pull up a shorter term perspective here. It's been a great move off the lows. More than doubled. So a little bit of pullback here, certainly not terribly awful. And long-term trend line resistance up there at 1950. So possibility we get another $7 of upside for FCX. One more thing to watch again, the VXX. We can look at Wynn Resorts, which keeps trying to break over that 100 level, could not, failed. Is this some sort of a topping pattern here? Look for support about the 87, 88 level. We can hold that, set up a constructive move back into triple digits. You could also make the case here, this action here, some sort of a cup and handle. We had that move up, a little bit of a rest, back under 80 briefly. We're in the 90s here, 91.23 this morning, hanging right at that level. Long-term chart perspective, this is a $200 stock a year and a half ago. So, if we just look, pull back. Wynn Resorts, don't know why it's not updating. Let's talk about the weather. It's cold and rainy out. No, just kidding. I have no idea what's going on here. It is Cinco De Mayo. Maybe they're messing with the weather. Enjoy your burritos, folks. I wish I could have done this whole thing with the accent. Just could not do it. There we go. Wynn Resorts. Hello. So at least to move up here to the 125, 130 level. But first, got to get back to the 100 back. But a nice little flag here on the 10-year monthly chart. 230 was the high. Can you believe that back in the middle of 2014? Significant pullback. We got to the 50 level, found support, broke out. So Wynn Resorts, keep an eye on that going forward for a move back into triple digits. All right, UBBOptionMillionaires.com. We'll see you in the chat room. Have a happy Cinco de Mayo. Goodbye.